certainly angst in the mission field. If it wasn't broken, we wouldn't need to be there at some level. But we came home and we did the UMVIM training and looked at each other and said, why didn't we do this before? We went and gave us a lot of things to think about and a lot of resources and have coping skills and kind of resources to kind of fall back on and to do better the next time. Yeah, and to feel claimed and to realize who we are. And it was interesting, Lorna, I've grown up in the United Methodist Church and feel like I know the connectional system and know General Board of Global Ministries and all that. But it was interesting then to see that UMVIM is a relatively, even though it's been around for a long time, it's really getting recognized and kind of understood in the way that it has been all these years and kind of claimed by the denomination since 2000. So that helped me understand why I didn't know about it even and when we left, because I felt like I lived this system and I kind of understand it, know it. So that is good things to think about and to hear too. So we were claimed not only by East Ohio, but we were claimed by the United Methodist Volunteer and Mission Program and ministry that you're kind of putting yourself out there to see if this is what you're all about.
It's really who we are.
Mm-hmm. It's who we are. We go, we come, we go, we come. And the place that we decided to go was the Camphor Mission Station in Liberia in West Africa. And I'll tell you a little bit about that, and then I'm going to show you some pictures of us serving there. And I'm going to show you pictures of people like yourselves who went through this program and this training and also went to serve at the Camphor Mission Station. And so we'll go through these slides. But the Camphor Mission Station is a school for preschool to 9th graders. It's a clinic, which is where Danny works some of the time. It's an agriculture program, and it's a United Methodist Church. It's a mission station that started over 60 years ago, not by foreign missionaries who thought it would be a good idea to set up a mission station in this location. It started by indigenous Liberian people who said we want to educate our children. And so they invited us to join them in that work. But you get to Liberia, you go down this dirt road.
That's the interstate. That's the good road.
These are the community of Duo that you pass through before you get to the Camphor Mission Station. And you go through these gates of welcome at Camphor, and you arrive at the school where there's over 300 students. Like I said, preschool to 9th graders. Some of them are boarding students, others come from the surrounding village of the Camphor Mission Station.
And this was all rebuilt since 2004. Liberia had a really bad war for 18 years of infrastructure destruction. And the Methodists, who rebuilt
The Hope for the Children in Africa.
Children.
The Bishop's Initiative around Hope for the Children in Africa.
Who rebuilt that place?
Yeah. There's a good library at the school that has been organized and is now functioning.
By an UMVIM.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Is that where Kevin has?
That's where Kevin has worked,
Another
yeah.
individual volunteer.
This library, yeah. And
Okay.
she's in the pictures further down that we'll share, but she came to organize the library a couple of times. But these are some of our students, the reasons we keep going back. This is the boys' dormitory. There's about 40 boys that live in the dormitory, come from Monrovia, and mostly come from Monrovia. This is the kids. Some of them sleep with mosquito nets. To be honest, most of them don't. And then here's a picture of some of the boys in the group that live in the dormitory. And then this is the girls' dorm on campus. There's about 30 girls.
They're better about the mosquito
Yeah.
nets, so I don't see them in the clinic with malaria so much as opposed to.
These look like older girls.
They are. The girls that live in the dorm are anywhere from probably 8 years old to 20 years old, 20, 22 years old.
Liberia, because of the war, this whole idea of age
Traditional
appropriate-
student.
Yes, we have 23-year-old 6th graders. We have some former combatants. Some of these kids were in the small boy units, SBU. It's the deck got shuffled during this war because there was no schools for years and years.
This is the dining hall where the dormitory students eat. Not all of our village students get to eat at the mission. They come in the morning after breakfast and leave before lunch. This is the cooks that cook the meal for our 70 to 80 boarding students that we have. We don't have any electricity at Camp First, so they're cooking on the coal pots or the wood fires. This is the clinic. This is Danny serving and seeing some patients at the Camphor Clinic. The pharmacy, that sometimes looks that
You know what
full,
though, but half of those boxes are empty. Don't think that something just makes this look nice for the pictures, because in reality, we don't have that much money.
And this is Mary with one of our moms who gave birth at the Camphor Clinic. Danny
The
seeing
fat baby.
a fat
I
baby
like
at
fat baby.
the clinic. We have mosquito nets in our clinic if we have to have
It's our
anyone spend the
inpatient
night.
ward.
Go ahead.
Danny, are you the only physician there?
Yeah, I'm the only physician in Boston County for about 1 million people. So certainly I'm the only physician at Camp Mission,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's, Camphor Mission is located about 12 miles from an ocean town in Buchanan. And so it's a rural inland location where we serve.
How many
And-
beds, inpatient beds?
I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5. Most people don't spend the night because it costs about $1 and they don't like spending $1. So they usually go and sleep in one of the neighboring villages.
And there is a government hospital in Buchanan that we can refer patients to if we need to do that too.
Do you have any apprentices at all from the locals?
Apprentices?
Yeah, I mean-
Well, we have a staff. Actually, the clinic staff isn't all that dependent on me, kind of by
Oh,
design.
okay, that's
I do
right.
more teaching than doctoring.
Okay.
But we have an officer in charge who's a certified midwife,
Oh, okay.
who's got lots of experience. We have a nurse who doesn't have so much experience.
But she's getting.
She's getting there. She's got this.
She's been there for 3
that says
years.
RN after it, but she's trying. We have a pharmacist. We have a pretty functioning vaccination program.
Okay.
Well, what we're really trying to do is preventative medicine.
Okay.
It's really the only thing that's making sense out in these rural areas. These are our TBAs. These are all the traditional birth attendants from there's about 60 villages, depending on how you count in our catchment area. And most of them have the traditional birth attendant. And the Denver,
Trinity United Methodist Church and the General Board of Global Ministries
she's really
is
taken this on.
helping to do some trainings
So
once a quarter.
we get in once a month. These women get together and they put on their Sunday best and they come and rock the place for a little bit because they sing great and they fill up and bring great energy and share stories and support each other and are doing a much better job of village birthing than was going on before.
One looked ready to deliver it.
Yeah, you know they're gonna get.
Yeah,
pregnant.
that's here in the middle there.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's a lot of
How long
procreate.
has this program been going?
Before the war, and it's now gotten back up off the ground since the war with Bob Gibbs Church is the Trinity Church that's
Denver for
helping
the
us get off the
last
ground.
2 years, they
Yeah.
started, and they got some financial resources, they've donated a motorcycle, so, which is really harsh, because we have these obstructive laborers 3 hours out, and you stay for 4 days, you don't want to be on a motorcycle. But that's the only, these roads are bad.
Yeah.
This is our vaccination program, and one of the big challenges in the developing world is keeping vaccine cold. Everybody understands, some of you guys don't know about this whole cold chain. But this vaccine, which was made in Bordeaux, France, has to figure out how to get to Monrovia and not get over 100 degrees. It's 100 degrees every day here. And it's odd, with no electricity, I'm not sure how putting a fire underneath here keeps my refrigerator cold, but it works. There's some magic of refrigeration that we need kerosene to keep vaccine cold, and there's not a steady supply of kerosene out in this area. So one of our challenges is keeping a coal box cold, so we could vaccinate these kids, and because we still see too much polio, we're seeing too much preventable disease. So I put a lot of my energies and our energies, and it's not as sexy as curing stuff, but preventing stuff is what really makes sense to me. And there's our vaccinator out at one of the village markets, chasing all the pregnant, chasing our big bellies. They call them the big belly clinics. And we go out to the third trimester showing. So we try to vaccinate the moms and all the kids that don't have vaccination cards. So In
So-
this case, he's chasing the kids as opposed to them coming to our clinic, which now that we're reliable, they come to our clinic. But
He takes his cold box out to the market and where the crowd is and tries to vaccinate there.
so we're chasing kids as opposed to just inviting them to come find us.
So they all have vaccination cards if they've been vaccinated?
Yeah, but
But did they remember, like, if they're coming to market,
Not
if they've been
always.
vaccinated? Okay, that would be, okay.
It's a
Not
challenge. The Liberian governments, they're trying, but they do this vaccination card, especially in these rural areas, trying to do head counts. So they don't know how many kids. All these statistics I see, people are telling me what my perinatal mortality is, and they don't have any idea how many of my babies are dying, because they don't know how many of these babies were born.
Right.
But the vaccination is one way for them to kind of keep track of how many kids are out in these villages. But the problem with these cards is the mice eat them.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody comes in with it's real, this is National Geographic, where everybody's out and we try to protect these things in plastic, but they use the plastic to store the food, and it's hard. There's challenges there. But we try to get the moms to bring the vaccination cards in.
This is the original church. It's now used for housing. But this building next to it that you'll see in this next slide is the Garfield United Methodist Church. That's located on the Camp for Mission up the hill. And here's the picture of the front with Jesus and the picture in the back with John Wesley.
And if I was a little Liberian kid, and I saw that big white guy in the back, I'd be scared to death.
That's church at the Camp for Mission.
Freaks me out a little
Yeah.
bit.
And behind the church is the teacher staff housing, where families live kind of on top of each other. And it's
Did Peoria build that?
yes, Peoria was part of building that.
But
And then
this
this
is
is the old generator house that someone, Garpo, one of our employees, also lives in on the Camphor Mission Station. So Camphor, we've seen the school, we've seen the clinic, and we've seen the church. They also have an agriculture program at the Camphor Mission
Because
Station.
we're trying to feed our staff.
Right, we're
and
trying to
70
feed
more
our kids.
Which is a challenge.
And possibly generate some income, then to be able to help pay our teachers and to make the mission run. But this is the beehive that they have gotten honey from, that UMCOR helped them get that started. This is Joseph Roberts.
With some teak
with the teak.
program. I guess we're gonna sell this wood in 20
Right.
years.
Pineapple was planted and has been harvested and has been stolen.
Well,
It's right by the
they're-
road.
Yeah, we're trying to get the roads. We got a guy out there with a slingshot, chasing our
This is-
roads away.
It's a palm nut that gets turned into palm oil
Palm oil, yeah.
that either can be used for cooking or for soap making. This is a picture of our nursery made out of bamboo and planting our seeds and getting our seedlings started. And then they go into the ground. This is moringa, which is a big UMCOR project and has some healing agents in it. They drink as a tea or take for medicinal purposes and put in their foods. It's our gardens. These are the students working in the garden.
This is one of their classes, is agriculture. They have phys ed and agriculture a couple times a day. Kind of a cheap labor force, I think.
But
it
it's
also helps
good.
teach them.
They don't pay much money to go to school, they can be working.
And they're eating this cabbage.
And
this
you
is stuff
know,
going
a
into
busy,
it.
tired child is a better child. It's true in America, it's true all over the world. But as volunteers in missions, one of the big things that we have been doing, and one of probably the heartaches of our time in 2009 and 2010, was building a guest house for you to stay when you come as a volunteer. And so as Danny spent some time doctoring, he also spent a lot of time getting sand and gravel and cement and building supplies.
And there's no Home Depot down the street there. So trying to build, this was.
This is the foundation and Mr. Baugh, our builder.
We love.
Yeah. We love.
And now you got a place to sleep.
And now this is our guest house.
With an oven.
One of the first things things that our annual conference did was to build this guest house in memory of one of our former pastors who died of breast cancer and was a part of the Bishop's Initiative of Hope for Children in Africa. And so this is the memorial that her husband, who also is a pastor, created and did for her. This is the inside where we eat. There's 2 units. The one on the left, which you're getting the tour of right now,